It really does look like someone is getting desperate here. I've been talking about the artificial bubbles being put into place and the rigged markets for some time now. I can't stress enough how important this is, man. You have really, I can't tell you how many videos I've watched for years of economic collapse coming. The collapse is coming. Buy my book. All this bullshit. Smoke and mirrors. What I'm seeing right now, after all this time, is real deal. It may not happen tomorrow, but it's in the offing. It's actually, I can see it in the distance coming. The reason being here is because everything's right there in the open for those that have eyes to see. First off, you don't have one of the biggest banks in the world like DB get busted and admit that they've been rigging gold and metal through and through. All the precious metals, gold and silver, they were rigging it this whole time. It was rigged. Does not anybody care? I've talked about this I don't know how many videos. There should be protests in the streets all over the place. But because the mainstream media is not talking about it, nobody cares. You're in for a rude awakening, America. All of you that just don't care, think somebody else is going to fix your problem. Well, I'm going to put it to you like this. The cartels at the top that know that DB Bank went down, let's say DB Bank represents, one entity. Act like it's one person at the table. You have all these other banks, all these other cartel members that were in on this that know that they've been busted and they're about to start snitching. This, to me, is the biggest thing that could bring down the economy. Why? Because all these greedy SOBs that have been getting rich off of all of our money all this time feel that it's closing in. See, they will keep this train going as long as they can. Forever, they'll keep you thinking collapse is coming, this and that, back and forth, forever, as long as they can get away with it. But as soon as the dominoes start to fall and people start snitching, these guys are sticking their money in offshore accounts. They're going to close up shop and they're gone before they ever see a day in court. They'll collapse the whole damn thing and live the rest of their life on an island somewhere. Before any of these big players that have been rigging the whole game, that's how powerful these guys are. Before any of them get busted. And there's so many, they're in on it together. It would be, in my opinion, a vote. It would be a choice they all made to say, all right, the time's to come. This is it. Now, what you're looking at in this chart is interesting as well. Very interesting. Because someone, a mystery person, is taking bushels of money and just throwing it at the market to try to prop it up. Because if they weren't, you would see a downward slope that just would never recover. That's where we're at. I'm here to tell you it's happening now, and they're giving the illusion that it's not. Well, what's happening? And anyone that has an eye of reading the charts, you know when real buys come in and when there's manipulation. Manipulation looks like this. You see all these V's? This is when everything is bottomed out, and they spike it by throwing big old bushels of cash at it. Kind of easy to do when your buddies and everyone else in the same circle with you are running the Federal Reserve and printing the money. They're controlling everything. My point is this. When real surges begin, you would at least see a flat line. You would see a more stable graph. Let's put it that way. You wouldn't see like you just drove a truck off the edge of a cliff. You see, what's happened here is this little bit of money they threw at it wasn't enough. That drop right there shows you that there were no real buyers after they threw their money in there to spike it up. So they start doing it again, gradually. A little bit here, a little bit there, spiking it up. Okay? But once they're done, it drops. They do it again. Tremendous drop. You see, and then they start gradually spiking this thing up. And I have a funny feeling at some point it's just going to drop. And when the day comes when they say, oh, the stock market's collapsed, they're just not going to be doing this anymore. They're not going to be fluffing it. They're not going to be propping the market up anymore. Okay? So when it happens, it's because they so choose to do it. They chose to stop propping up the market and running the whole thing. It was time to bring it down. And in my opinion, they'll only do this when they're ready for this place to go into pure chaos. And then in the end, roll in their one world system, a new monetary system. And with the death of the dollar here, I mean, it's in its death blows right now, you see the shift to gold. Now, something you have to pay attention to here as well is Soros just shifted to gold, sold 37% of his stocks, and is buying up all this gold. You'll see headliners out there, CIA insider warns not to buy gold, and all these other things. Well, perfect example of them trying to head fake you again. CIA insider. They do everything they can to get inside your head and try to get you to think and believe that don't buy the gold. Okay? When you turn around and look, this is when all the billionaires are actually buying all the gold. Those that hadn't bought it in years, making huge moves for it. But why would they do that in a market that we all know is rigged? Wouldn't you think that maybe they know something? Maybe that's how they're freaking billionaires. And you people don't think that they haven't committed any crimes? Guess they're just going to get away with it, huh? And since nobody wants to do anything about it, they'll sit back and relax, and they'll watch all the chaos from drone footage around the country on their flat screens in their mansions, sipping champagne while it all goes down. They will care not about none of you. And I know when that day comes, so many of you will be so pissed off and angry, you'll wonder where they're at. They'll be nowhere to be found. You've got a chance now to face the fire, to see it for what it is. And, really, when it comes down to the U.S. dollar and it declining, what are you going to do? Go buy gold, this and that. What you truly need is a barter system set up. And you need a new system ready to go. Because if you don't have a new system, a righteous system ready to go, they've got one ready. That's for damn sure. They're not just going to bring it in. They're going to collapse every economy globally. One by one like dominoes. You see, it'll be pure chaos when this happens. Why will it go down like that? Because it's the only way to initiate a one world currency, truly. Through every union, through every country, when the Chinese currency falls, the Russian, the euro, the dollar, when they all fall, one will rise like a phoenix out of the ashes, and it will be their new world currency. Get ready. But before that comes, in my opinion, there's going to be hell to pay in the streets. You're already seeing it in France, and I think people in America, they're just oblivious to it because the mainstream media is not talking about it. There are riots, there are clashes, and it's all part of a staged invasion that we've talked about time and time again. This is all planned by who? It goes right back to Soros. The same guys that were paying to have fake passports given to these migrants and they were ditched at the border. Man, we've covered all this. From Ukraine all the way up in all these countries where they're invading. The whole nine. And the same thing is going down here in this country. And they're using Border Patrol. If you just missed my video on Dabu77, DHS just got busted bringing in by the van loads OTMs, which mean other than Mexicans, across the border and dropping them off in Phoenix and simply making them promise they'll show up if they call them. Ha! Are you kidding me? That is the invasion happening right here underneath your nose every day, 24/7 in this country. And they're using your own agencies to do it. And the only reason we know about it is some of them are quitting and they're so sick of seeing it that they're spilling the beans. And thank God for men and women like that out there, the righteous ones. Kind of long-winded here, but I think it needs to be seen, guys. This is where we sit. The game is rigged. You've heard it a million times. I know you've heard collapse is coming a million times. You heard all these guys, buy my book, this and all that crap. I'm telling you, the red herrings are here. When the billionaires start making moves, when the big banks get busted for rigging it, and you know they're going down, and now we see sure signs that this thing's propped up, man, it's almost like they're getting ready to put it on autopilot and then dip before it's just nose dives into the ocean. I mean, it's not looking good at this point. But the one good thing is this. You have the know-how and the knowledge at this point to know that this thing is rigged through and through. Don't turn another cheek and act like you don't know. Share this information with others. Share the charts with them. Strike up a conversation about what you and your family, your peers are going to do when this whole thing comes crashing down. It's not going to be if, but when. Truly. We can make it through this. Just takes a good, righteous system. You better be thinking about that, guys. You need good men and women to fill every seat. It's been Dabu 7.